Hi, welcome to America Uncovered. I'm your host, Chris Chappell. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the weirdest timeline.
It was the handshake seen around the world. Tuesday's meeting is the very first between a North Korean leader and a sitting U.S. president.
And it was stranger than anything you could imagine. Kim Jong-un told the president, "Many people will think this is from a science fiction movie." Wait, I wonder what kind of science fiction they have in North Korea. Attack of the 100-foot-tall North Korean hero destroying the American imperialists? But calling it science fiction really wasn't too far off. First of all, I just agreed with Kim Jong-un. Then there's America's greatest diplomat and ambassador.
Kim Jong-un wants to have trust in America. If Donald Trump can stick to those to his guns and say that we're gonna have a great relationship with North Korea, and it's gonna work out for everyone in the world, and that's what I want.
Yes, that's former NBA superstar Dennis Rodman. And yes, he's wearing both a Make America Great Again hat and a Potcoin cryptocurrency t-shirt. You know, they laughed at Dennis Rodman. They mocked his friendship with a murderous tyrant. Even the future president of the United States didn't understand the true scope of Dennis Rodman's vision. But someday, this picture will be in your kid's history book, if they still have books. And the caption will say, "Dennis Rodman, winner of the Nobel Peace Prize, sponsored by Potcoin.com." Although his crowning achievement will always be starring in Little Hoop Dreams. Okay, back to the summit, where, I kid you not, Kim Jong-un brought his own toilet. It's the one he brings everywhere he travels. It's because he's paranoid that spies will steal his stuff and try to learn personal information about his health. Yes, this man brought a portable toilet to the $9,000 a night presidential suite at the St. Regis Hotel in Singapore. Totally normal. And I know we criticize North Korea for human rights violations, but can I just say, it is an act of compassion by Kim Jong-un that no one has to suffer using the toilet after him. Although, imagine being the North Korean official in charge of guarding and cleaning up that particular state secret. I hear the last guy volunteered to be sent to a labor camp. Now, as for what actually happened at Tuesday's summit, President Trump was coming to the table with some pretty ambitious goals. And frankly, some of his demands were impossible.
Getting a good picture, everybody, so we look nice and handsome and thin.
Really, a photo that's going to make this guy look handsome and thin? Denuclearizing North Korea is more realistic. And that, of course, was the big hope for the summit in Singapore. President Trump and Kim Jong-un signed this 4-point agreement. It says that North Korea, quote, commits to work toward complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Now I know what you're thinking. Denuclearization, blah, 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 blah. Who won the handshake? Don't worry, there are actually people working on that.
Notice Trump reaches out first. Notice the hand on the arm. That's Trump occupying a dominant position. Again, notice the handshake, the bone-crushing handshake.
Not only is Trump's nuclear button bigger, but Kim's hand will be too crippled to even press his. Now that's the art of the deal. Okay, so with the important thing out of the way, we can deal with lesser issues like, will North Korea actually honor its agreement to get rid of its nuclear weapons? Work toward getting rid of its nuclear weapons. It's hard to say. Some experts, like this Heritage Foundation research fellow, say North Korea has agreed to this in the past, and the language for denuclearization now is actually weaker than it was in the six-party talks, which failed. And since Kim Jong-un came to power in 2011, he's conducted at least 4 nuclear tests and 86 missile tests overall. So maybe he's not all that trustworthy. Which is why, only 10 months ago, you had President Trump saying things like this.
North Korea best not make any more threats to the United States. They will be met with fire and fury.
Fire and Fury. You know, that might make a good name for a book. Of course, the media was quick to criticize Trump at the time for his harsh rhetoric. Just like they're criticizing him now for being too nice. Except for, weirdly, Late Show host Stephen Colbert.
I can kind of understand North Korea because you butter up somebody to get them to the negotiating table, and if he succeeds, God bless him.
Yes, that's Stephen Colbert wishing Donald Trump success. Like I said, we may be living in a science fiction movie. But objectively, Trump has achieved something no other U.S. president even came close to. And he says it's thanks to his aggressive rhetoric since taking office.
Well, I think without the rhetoric, we wouldn't have been here. I really believe that. You know, we did sanctions and all of the things that you would do, but I think without the rhetoric, you know, other administrations, I don't want to get specific on that, but they had a policy of silence.
Not to get too specific on that, but clearly Trump is referring to Obama and his policy of strategic patience, or as North Korean defector Yeonmi Park recently called it, strategic do-nothing. Trump did get specific, though, when criticizing the Bill Clinton administration. Trump paraphrased what Kim Jong-un supposedly told him about his father's strategy in the 90s.
Yeah, he actually mentioned the fact that they proceeded down a path in the past, and ultimately, as you know, nothing got done. In one case, they took billions of dollars during the Clinton regime, took billions of dollars, and nothing happened. That was a terrible thing. And he actually brought it up to me. And he said, we have never gone this far.
Wow, and I thought this was the worst part of the Clinton regime. Remember when that was a big controversy because people thought it was undignified for a presidential candidate to play the sax on the Arsenio Hall show? Oh, the 90s. It was a simpler time. But Trump did grant North Korea a concession during the summit. He said the U.S. would stop war games with South Korea. Trump said that would be too provocative, and heck, stopping the games will save U.S. taxpayer dollars. That, by the way, makes both North Korea and China pretty happy. The White House later clarified, though, that the U.S. will still conduct drills and training exercises with South Korea. As for human rights, well, it's one of those topics no U.S. president wants reporters to ask about.
But what do you, President Trump, expect Kim Jong-un to do about the human rights record regarding the North Korean people?
Right. It was discussed. It was discussed relatively briefly compared to denuclearization. Well, obviously, that's where we started and where we ended. But they will be doing things, and I think he wants to do things.
Which is to say, let's move on, please. Nothing to see here. And anyway, the biggest question the media cares about is who won the summit? It's impossible to say for certain yet. Most of it depends on whether North Korea actually gets rid of their nukes, which some experts say could take up to a decade. Trump said he would stop war games with South Korea, but it's important to note that the United States has not lifted the harsh sanctions that got North Korea to the negotiating table in the first place. Some are concerned that meeting with Trump gave Kim Jong-un legitimacy. But really, does this meeting make anyone think Kim Jong-un is a great guy? Probably not. Well, other than the people in North Korea, though they were required to think that anyway. But the summit does change the relationship between North Korea and the U.S. As you can see in this nice little video Trump showed Kim at the summit.
2 men, 2 leaders, 1 destiny.
This is what happens when Washington decides it wants to be like Hollywood. Seriously, how did we manage to make ourselves look so uncool in front of a guy with this haircut? Fortunately, laughter is Kim's soft spot. Wait, I'm actually pretty sure this is his soft spot. Well, Trump's unique negotiating strategy and vision has already accomplished what many thought was impossible. And the future looks bright.
As an example, they have great beaches. You see that whenever they're exploding their cannons into the ocean, right? So I said, boy, look at that bridge. Wouldn't that make a great condo behind?
Yes, it would make a great condo. You ever notice how Trump seems to relate everything to real estate projects? It's like his version of empathy. His heart is just a giant, golden, groundbreaking shovel. Wait a minute, I have a great idea for how we can bring peace to Syria. They have some great beachfront views right on the Mediterranean. So what do you think of the summit? Is it just the beginning of a glorious new science fiction movie where two men, two leaders, bring peace to the world through joint real estate ventures?
What if? The future remains to be written.
After all, we are in the weirdest timeline. And if you'd like to get through it together, subscribe to America Uncovered. And be sure to turn that notification bell on so YouTube will notify you each time we publish a new episode. And one more thing, America Uncovered is funded by viewers like you. Click the square orange button during the credits to learn how you can support us. Let me know what you think about the Trump-Kim summit. Leave your comments below. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching America Uncovered.